Hello, what is up, everybody? This is Aniket from CodeIT, and as I mentioned, today we will create this nice, cool little effect with a landing page animation and a parallax effect. We have some text here, and if I scroll a bit, this text is still is fixed, but the image you keep watching the image. So this is the effect which we would create today. So we have this text here, and when we scroll, then we see that this parallax and JavaScript, these two text these two texts hide themselves behind the image, but this text effect comes over the image, and we can also see the line. The half of the line comes the image comes over the line, and half of the line comes over the image. So how to achieve this effect? And I am also giving you warning that don't try giving it a position of fixed. Yes, I'm guessing most of you will would try that, giving this text as position fixed. So you don't have to do that. You only have to give position fixed or relative if you want to this text. Don't give it a position of fixed. If you do it, you will not be able to achieve that effect. So now let's jump right into the code and see how can we achieve this. So let's start by creating an index.html file here, and then after that I'll create a style.css file here, or let me create a SAS file so that it is bit easier for me to create the effect. Now that I've created the style.css file, now I'll create a main.js file, and then I'll close the sidebar over here and give a simple boilerplate. Title would be parallax effect, and then let me give a text so that I could see that what is happening here. Hello world. Now I'll link both of the file here, but first let me enable the watch SAS. So okay, it's already watching. Now I'll link. Okay, we have a style.css file here. Now I'll link the CSS file, style.css, and then I'll link the JS file. Not main. What I'm writing. Script src main.js. Yes. So now let's see what we have here. So let me open it with live server. So here I have this. So now I'll come again to my VS Code and I'll delete this h1 header, and then I'll write a text wrapper. I will give a div with class text wrapper. Then I'll create three divs. Remember, I'm creating three divs, and each div would have a class of upper text. No, each div would have a class of text, and two of them would have a class of lower text. What I'm doing, lower text, and only one of them will have a class of upper text. So now I'll write parallax effect. So this is a simple trick that I used here, so that I could differentiate each and every text, so that it comes so two of the text hide themselves and beyond the image, and one comes over the image. And after that I'll add the image here, and I'll give the source code of the code so that you can refer to it, and I'll also give the image. So go down to the description down below and you can get the source code there. If you have any problem, then you can check the code. Now I'll give the image, I have this image, and then I'll give the alternate, and let us give image. So now let's save this and see. So we have this, and we have to achieve this. So I'd come to style.css file, and then I'll give some basic stylings to the pseudo elements and the universal operator, padding of 0, margin of 0, and box size in border box. Body would have a background of, let's say, this color, and this is so this is like this color. I've zoomed in for you. Now let's zoom out, come to ss file. Now the first thing which I'll do is I'll control the image and give it a height of 100, width of 500 pixels, height of 300 pixels, and let's see if that works. So okay, so we have a nice little image. Now it come in our VS Code, and then I'll use this text wrapper, and as I said, I'll give a position of absolute, a top of 30%, left of 10%, and then I'll go to the text, and then I'll give a font size of 5 rem, and then color white, and then a font family. I'll use Goblin here. So come to your browser, go to fonts.google.com, and then I'll use Goblin. I'll select this style, go to import, copy this out here, and then I'll come here in VS Code, I'll paste it here, and then in font family I'll give Goblin 1 and cursor. So now let's see. So we have this cool effect here, and so we have to make it uppercase. So in order to make it uppercase, we'll give our text transform property uppercase. So far very good, we are going good. Now I have to create a line here. So to give a line, I'll give a padding of 5%, and why I'm giving a padding of 5%, you will come to know. And for the line I'll use before and after. Yes, I am using both after and before, and I'll give height of 50% to both of them, so that we see it as like a single line, but it is two different lines. So one line comes beyond the image and one line comes over the image. So this was the trick here. So I'll use a content, blank content, position absolute, and a left of 0. So if I give it a left of 0 but a padding is of 5%, so there would be a margin of 5% between this line and this text. So because it starts with the very left side, and since I've given the padding of 5%, it would be 5% from the left, and it is 0 from the left. Now what I'll do is top minus 10%, and I'm giving minus 10%, so it is like 10% above of 0, and height would be 50% as I told you just now, and the background it would be white. So not given the width would be 1 pixel. So now let's see what we have so far. So we have this line here, this line. So now what I have to do is I have to create a single continuous line, but I don't want any overlapping with each other. So I'll grab this after here, and I'll give top of 40%, because the top here is minus 10% and the height is 50%. So I'm giving the top 40% so that they do not overlap each other, and they are not disjoint as well. So let's come here, and we have a single line like this one. It's looking very good, and there is a difference in this line, and the difference is of color. So let me change this color. So color I would give a grayish color. Let's see if it was this. I honestly don't remember what was the color. So yes, this was the same color. So you are going good. Now here what I'm going to do is I'll grab this image. The position would be absolute. The top would be 120%, and then the left would be 10%, as I had with the text. The left would is 10%. So now let's see what we are right now. So we are going very good, and let me give a position of fix here, and I'm only giving it for to see that what if we scroll right now. You have to give absolute only, but for only a demo purpose I'm giving fixed. I'll change it back to absolute, so don't get confused. So we have something like this. Okay, so what we want is um, so we'll give the image a left. We'll decrease the left position. We'll decrease the left position. I had 10%. Let me try 8. So yes, now it comes good. So I wanted the image to be mm, from. I wanted the image to be a side of this line, to cross this line. So I wanted the image to cross this line. So I've given this 8%. Now good. Now let me remove this fix here. I'll give absolute, but I want to achieve like this one. I want to achieve a position of fixed here. So what I can do is I can make the use of JavaScript here. So what I'll do is const wrapper document.query selector. I'll grab the text wrapper here. Now I'll do window dot add event listener scroll. Whenever it scrolls, I'll give let scroll equals scroll y. So this will give us the value how much we have scrolled the page from the y direction. Now what I have to do is I have to give wrapper. I have a wrapper dot style dot. Oh, this autocomplete. Wrapper dot style dot top should be. I'll use backtick here, and it should be wrapper. And let me give a const to wrapper top, and I'll take the top position of the wrapper here. So I'll do wrapper dot get bounding client rect. And if you guys don't know what this is, so let me tell you. So this, if you write this wrapper dot get bounding client rect, then it would be an object, and this object will return four values, that would be top, left, height, and width. So we can achieve any one of these if we write document get bounding client rect. And here what I want is top, so I'll write dot top. Good. Now what I'll do is I'll tell wrapper dot style dot top should be wrapper top. So what this is, this would be the let's say come here, and if from top I have 30% this text, if I have 30%, then it is going to return me 30% here. And what I want to do is keep this 30% constant. I don't want to change this 30%. If it is 30% right now, if I scroll, then you can see the top position has decreased. So what I will do is I'll come back to my VS Code and I'll add a scroll here. So this 30% would be there, and the how much we have scrolled will be added to that. So we'll gain a position of fixed here. And now at last I'll give the unit pixels, and now this should work fine. Let's see. And yes, it works pretty good. And one thing that I want to add is I want to change the height of this body, and the height should be 300 VH if I'm not wrong. And now it's good. So the image crosses this text, and now I want something like this. So I want these two images to hide themselves behind the image, and this text to make this text to cover the image to be over the image. And same as with the two lines. So it is not a single line, it is two line. So this was the trick here. Now here what we will do is, now I think the JavaScript is completed. Yes, right guys. One thing that I missed here is, what I have to do is, on the reload, on the refresh, I want this animation. So what I'll do is, I'll come back to VS Code, and I'll add document dot add event listener dom content loaded. And what this means is, whenever the document object model is loaded of the document, and it is nearly about, if our whole page is loaded, it is nearly about that. So what we want is, we'll give a wrapper, a class of animate here, a class of animate. So now we'll define the animate class here. We'll come to text wrapper animate, and then what I'll do is, let me zoom out it a bit, and I'll come to the pseudo class, and then I'll give the height to 0. I'll give the height to 0, and then after that I'll give the height to 50%, and the text I would say, transform transform translate x minus 50% minus 120%, and then I'll give transition, so that we could see the nice smooth effect transition to here. I'll give a transform, and then I'll give ease in out, and in the pseudo element I will give transition to the height property, and it would be 250 millisecond ease out, and then I'll give it a delay of 250 milliseconds. And why I'm giving this a delay is because, if before if before element start animating, then it would take 250 milliseconds. And if I want to make the line, if I want the user to see the line as a single line, I would first animate this before element, and then after this is completed, suddenly I'm going to use this after element, and I animate this one. And after both the effects have been completed, I'll give this a transition delay 500 milliseconds, so that after both these have been animated, then this would start animating. Now in and dot animate, I'll give I will give I'll not gift I will give before and after element a height of 50% as it was, and text a transform property to 0 as it was earlier. So now it should be good. So if I show you here, so we have something like this. So what is wrong with this is, we want to give this text wrapper an overflow of hidden. So now they should work just fine. Now here I have, very good. Now we have this effect, so it's looking pretty good. Now we want this scroll effect. So now it's all the play of z index. So I'll give the pseudo element a z index of -1. Let's see, a z index of -1, and the after no, I'll give it a z index of 2, and after element I shall say, would we have a z index of -1. So what this is, first I'm assigning both, and before and the after element a z index of 2, and the image by default would have a z index of 1. So both these element will be over the image, will come over the image, but after that I'm assigning the after element z index of -1. Now the after element, that is at the down line, the downside line will be behind the image, will hide itself behind the image. Now same with the text, I'll give a z index of -1, so that the text hides itself beyond the image. Now I will give a dot upper text a z index of 2 so that the text comes over the image. Now I think it's completed. Let's see our output. Reload the page. Good. Let me scroll. And okay, it covers the text. And our effect does not work with, but it works with the line. Yeah, it works with the line, but it does not work with the text. So let's see what is the problem here. Let's go come with the upper text. Upper text has a z index of -1, z index of 2. So what I'm doing wrong is I should delete it from here and say dot lower text should have a z index of -1. So because the text itself got assigned a z index of -1, so there's no reason of giving z index of 2 there. So I'm giving a lower text a z index of -1 so that only the image would come behind the text, and so only the text would come behind the image. I So now, and the upper text would be over the image. So now it should work pretty well. Let's see. So far so good. Now let's scroll, and still I'm having the same error. So why is this so? Let me see here. And so oh yes, here's the error. I have to add a position of relative. It is a very silly mistake. I have to add the position here so that it works. Now it should work pretty well. Let's see. Let me reload the page once so that we can see the animation. Now, fine. So yes, we have created this nice cool little effect. And if you want to see more of such awesome videos, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to my channel. And yeah, don't forget that bell icon to get notified of our latest videos. Thank you for watching.